Hello there. Um, I wanted to share with you a build I've been using for a bit more than a year, and that's been really, really useful for me because I'm not a main DPS player. I'm not even a good DPS player, to be honest. I play tank usually, but sometimes I just want to be able to play as a DPS because I can enjoy it, and I want to be able to learn the mechanics as a DPS to be a better tank also. And sometimes I just want to be able to replace someone on the spot for a guild or a roster. I know for just fill in for someone or just enjoy the game as a DPS from time to time. But I don't want to sweat for it. I don't want to train. I don't want to spend days mastering some complex dynamic rotations. And even though heavy attack builds are meant for the average players and allow them to do content they couldn't do otherwise because it requires a huge amount of experience and APM to get those crazy numbers. And heavy attack builds allow you um, to not really have to be that good to dish out a good amount of DPS. But still, nowadays, you can see heavy attack builds that require some rotation, some dots, and yes, sure, you can get 110, 120k DPS with a heavy attack build, especially since subclassing is a thing. But sometimes people get disappointed because they see those crazy guides, those crazy videos, and they try the build, and when they get on the build, they manage to get maybe 110k, 100k, and that's good. Maybe 90k, that's really good. Honestly, that's a good amount of DPS already. But if you lose 20, 30k DPS from the theory to the practice on the pass, from the pass to the content, the actual content you're gonna play as a DPS, you're gonna lose more DPS. What I mean is there's a gap between the best players and us, and there's also a gap between the Atronac or the pass and the actual content. Because the pass, the Atronac doesn't require you to move, it doesn't require you to manage your resources, it gives you all the best buffs, so you have this perfect buff momentum all the fight. It's perfect support cycling rotation ultimates. It doesn't require you to res anyone, it doesn't require you to res yourself. So basically, you just dish out the best amount of damage in the best possible conditions. But when you get into the content, it doesn't work like that. You have to do mechanics, especially as a DPS. You have to res people, you have to res yourself, you have to avoid AoE, you have to change targets, and all those things are occasions where you stop actually dishing out damage. You stop doing your role as a DPS, and that's normal. But that's why people get confused. Like on the path, they get crazy numbers, and in the trial, it's not that good. And that's because every time you stop doing your thing, every time you stop um, building your damage, setting up your dots, your AoE, everything, every time you have to reset it. If the mob moves or if you change targets, you have to reset your skills. And that's why you have to be really, really good at cycling your skills and your abilities to get a good rotation and be able to build up your damage over time as quickly as possible. But for a lot of players, and I mean a lot of players, it's just too hard. And that's why heavy attack builds are really efficient that way, because maybe you have one, two skills, three you rotate, and you use them to build up your damage. But the skill I'm gonna show you in a minute, and I'm already showing you, doesn't require anything else than heavy attack and one spammable. And that's it. You don't need anything else. You just use your heavy attack, you hold the button basically, and between each heavy attack you throw in a spammable, and that weaves. I'm not even like paying attention. You see my weaving is a bit off, but still it's okay. So this build is supposed to mitigate the fact that every time you have to stop doing damage, you have to build up your damage again, your damage over time, your AoE, your dots. And if I die now, if my character dies, the moment I get back into the fight, I can just do this heavy attack, spammable, heavy attack, spammable, and I'm gonna dish out the same amount of damage no matter what. And it's not gonna be a crazy number. Don't expect like 120, 130, 140k damage, but it's gonna be steady. It's gonna be steady. It's gonna be easy, and it's gonna be guaranteed. So that's the strength of this kind of build, and especially this one. And simplicity, and I really want to like put an emphasis on this one. Simplicity is not a luxury. Simplicity is what makes this build really, really strong, because then again, you don't have to build up your damage all the time to get back to your average amount of DPS. So that's really good. And let's see in a second the results. How much did we manage? 80k, yeah, good, perfect. So if you deal 80k damage with such a simple build, a simple rotation between just heavy attack and one ability, that means you are a good candidate for any trial as a DPS, because most guilds, most casual guilds expect 30k DPS as a minimum for the basic trials, and maybe 50, 60k DPS for the recent ones. So 80k DPS already puts you ahead. You already have an advantage, and it's really, really strong. And then again, you don't need to build up anything. Your damage is already built in. You don't have to reset anything. You just press one button and all the other. That's it. So how does it work? It works because we're using basically the same build as regular heavy attack builds, with a few exceptions. Of course, we're using the Console ring. It gives you power that increases the damage of your heavy attacks, but it also gives you a ton of really useful buffs: minor courage, minor berserk, the weapon and spell damage buffs, brutality and sorcery, major prophecy and savagery that gives you crit chance, minor force, crit damage. It gives you also major resolve, that's some survivability here. It gives you minor heroism, minor slayer, 5% more damage again. Yeah, so Console is really strong. So we use Console. It's the only piece on this setup that requires a DLC. It's the Fire Song DLC, if I'm not wrong. But other than that, it's only base content. But yeah, the Console ring is mandatory for this build, and it's on a bloodthirsty trait to increase the damage, the execute damage, and a regular weapon spell damage glyph. It's nothing unusual here. Then the second set is another really popular set for heavy attack builds. It's the Surgeon's Mail. You can find it in the rarest sewers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's it. And again, bloodthirsty, weapon and spell damage. And on a lightning staff, of course, with a precise trait to gain some crit chance, and a flame damage, poison damage, maybe weapon damage glyph. It depends on the update, but yeah, it's good. All three are good. And the last piece, since it's a heavy armor and we have to put a piece on the body, we're gonna put the piece on the chest, because the chest gives the most amount of armor value. So it makes sense to use the chest as a heavy armor. So yeah, I've put a reinforced trait on it because why not? I just wanted some more armor. We already have a ton of crit chance, so it's worth it. It's worth it, I think. And even I didn't even change the enchantment. It's maximum health, so you can put stamina if you want to slightly do like maybe 0.2 more damage, but it doesn't matter that much. And I'd rather have 1k health and be a bit more bulky than just have maybe slightly more DPS. That's just me. Then we have one piece of a monster set, anyone you like. I used Ice Heart for a while or Slime Crow, just for the crit chance, but it doesn't really matter. Um, Maybe some penetration could be actually best in slot here. So Valkyn's Koya or Crag maybe. Just make sure it's a light piece because we have a heavy piece, we have a light piece, and the last set is a medium one. So you're gonna take advantage of the undaunted passives that give you more resources from synergies and more resources from the weight categories of armor you're wearing. So where I was yeah, the last set is it's so simple. It's the Undaunted Infiltrator set. It's a set you can get in Arx Corinium, a base dungeon, and when you use an ability that costs magicka while in combat, you increase the damage of your light and heavy attacks against monsters. Yes, it's almost the same as the Surgeon's Mail. The Surgeon's Mail gives a bit more overall, but this one is not bad, honestly. So, sorry. So yeah, it's a good set, and we just have to use one magicka costing ability to proc this set, so it's good. Divine everywhere except on the chest, and we use the Thief Stone to get critical rate. You'll see the critical rate is really high, so yeah, that's probably the best boon here. Let's look a bit at the stats. Sorry, we have a few a lower resource pool as a magicka because we don't need honestly to have much magicka. We get our resources anyway because we use heavy attack all the time, and the only ability we use is a magicka costing ability, but we get the cost back every attack, so it doesn't matter. We are a bit bulky. We have 28k maximum health. It's a lot for a DPS, but it's not detrimental because we get our damage anyway, and it's just because we don't need any recovery, so we can use a garlic cod with potato crust, a max health and max stamina food. So yeah, that's good. We don't need recovery, so may as well just get health and stamina. And for the stamina, yes, I put all my points in it, so we have 32k, and I play stamina because I play an orc, so I already have some stamina built in, and also the Undaunted Infiltrator set is a medium armor, so and it gives maximum stamina, so it makes sense to play as a stamina character here. Spell damage, it's quite good. Spell critical, it's 57.8%. It doesn't take into account other bonuses we get, you'll see. So yeah, it's really strong. Penetration is basic, the basic amount you can get as a DPS with no bonus. If needed in some groups, you can be in a situation where you need a bit more penetration, but you can tweak it. It's okay. It doesn't take much. The spell resistance and physical resistance, 24k. It's a lot. It's a big chunk of armor for both stats, and that comes mainly from the major resolve, and the minor resolve we get from the banner, you'll see. So yeah, we are, with this amount of HP, we are bulky. We are able to withstand some AoE, some hits, and that makes the build safer and therefore better to learn the mechanics and the fight. And that's another thing about this build. It's so simple. It allows you to put your mind at something else. You don't have to focus on your rotation. You don't have to focus on your DPS. You just have to hold and press, basically aim and shoot. And you don't even need to be careful the way you put your AoE. You don't have any AoE. You just press and shoot. It's targeted abilities. So, and that allows you to actually learn the fight, pay attention to what the tanks are doing, to what the healers are doing, to what the other DPS are doing. So you spend less time worrying about your rotation and way more time worrying about the fight, the actual fight itself. And that's how you can better learn your role. And that's why it's a good progress setup. For the abilities, because I said we use one ability, yes, and you need one magicka costing ability to proc the Undaunted Infiltrator set. So the one we use is the Screaming Cliff Racer from the Warden's Animal Companions skill line. It's the first ability. It's the Magicka morph. The other one deals a bit more damage by itself because it gives you a dot, a bleeding dot, but this one has other advantages. Yes, it's a Magicka costing ability, so yes, it procs the set, that's good. But also, if you are more than 7 meters away from the target, and that happens all the time in a trial because you never need to be closer than that, you set them off balance for 7 seconds. Now, off balance is a really good buff for heavy attack builds because it increases your damage with heavy attacks by 70%. 70%. You can see the debuff on the character, on the enemy. It's when it's a winded effect on the head, you know. But you can also use add-ons or icons to get this. So off balance is a really strong buff, and since it's guaranteed with this build, with this ability, that means you're gonna set the enemy off balance every time. It's guaranteed for 7 seconds. There is a 15 seconds cooldown where you won't be able to set them off balance, but when it's finished, the moment the cooldown is done, you're gonna cycle your abilities and you're just gonna spam again, and it's gonna be set off balance again. And that means 33% of the fight, check the math, 33% of the fight, you're gonna be able to you're gonna set him off balance, and you're gonna get more damage, and your friends as well. They're gonna dish out more damage with their heavy attack builds. And there's also other minor effects, but it doesn't matter for now. So on top of that, after dealing damage, you increase your weapon and spell damage by 100 for 10 seconds, which quadruples after damaging off-balance enemies. Again, you're gonna use only this ability, so you're gonna use it, and you can proc the bonus anytime, every time. So the 400, yes, we take it. It's good, okay? But wait, there's more. In the passives, there's one called Advanced Species that gives you 5% more critical damage for each animal companion ability slotted. So yes, that's 5% critical damage, and you'll see why it's quite useful and why I chose this ability, because we could still play with like Force Pulse, maybe. It could be a good DPS spammable, or there's a ton of good spammable Magicka costing spammables, but this one is good because it gives you really too much bonuses for just clicking one button and just having it slotted. So yeah. So to continue, the other abilities we don't use, but they give you passive bonuses. First, we're gonna use the Deceptive Predator because we're gonna get 5% more critical damage on the bar, and also it gives you Major Expedition. It's cool to be able to run faster between trash packs. It gives you an immunity against snares and immobilizations, whatever, but also it gives you Wild Slotted Minor Evasion, and it's a rare buff. It's a buff you can't get from many places. So yeah, why not? Why didn't I take the other morph that gives you Minor Berserk? Well, because I already have Minor Berserk, because I have the Oakensoul Ring. So it doesn't give me anything really. So I take this morph just to be able to get one more buff and some utility, and 5% more critical damage. And then the third ability from this skill line is the Bear. And yes, I'm not using the proper DPS Bear. This is the one we use for solo content. It respawns itself when it's killed. And the other one, the other morph, is actually the one we use usually as a DPS because it gives more damage. It does bleeding damage, so that's really good to proc some status effect. And it's just better, but I'm lazy, and I just wanted to be able to have a bear and not pay attention to it. And I promised you guys a build where you don't have to click any other button than your regular click, the mouse click, and one ability. So I deliver. So yeah, we don't use actually you don't actively use the bear. I didn't use is the ultimate, you know, and I have my ultimate is stacked up. I didn't use it in the fight. I just did at the beginning of the video. So yeah, and then again 5% more critical damage. Then the second most important skill line we use is assassination. We use assassination because just by slotting relentless focus, every time we gonna do heavy attacks or light attacks, we're gonna ramp up the bonus damage, the weapon and spell damage it gives, up to 400. So that's 400 from here, 400 from the Screaming Cliff Racer. That's a lot. So it's 800 weapon and spell damage just by having those skills. It's really good. And also, I don't use it. I don't use it actively. I don't need it, so I just let the bonus do its thing and enjoy. But you also benefit from the passives. This one gives you more critical chance when you flank an enemy. I wasn't flanking the Archonag, so I could have done a bit better actually, because I missed out 6.6% critical damage, critical chance. So yeah, I'm dumb, but I'm lazy, so it's okay. And also, you get a bit more resources, but it doesn't matter. You get a bit more critical chance just by having the abilities on your bar. So I have 5% more because I have Relentless Focus and Concealed Weapon. And the last gives you 10% critical damage just by having an assassination ability slotted on your bar. But also, when you deal critical damage, you and your group, you can minor savagery, giving you, again, 5%. No, a bit more, 15%, I think. Whatever. Critical rate. So, again, it's more critical rate. And the last one we use is Concealed Weapon, just to ramp up a bit this passive, and also it gives you minor expedition, and I'm a bit obsessed with movement speed in this game. So yeah, whatever, you can use anything else, really, it doesn't matter. Also, if you want to be using your ultimate actively, I suggest you retire your bear and you put Incapacitating Strike. That gives you a good ultimate you can spam and use for boss fights, and it's gonna increase your damage for quite a bit. But you don't need to. So, I mean, if you want 80k DPS, you don't need to. And the last one is a flex spot, but I went for Adric Spear. No active ability here because we could make use of the Piercing Spear that increases your critical damage by 12% when you have an Adric Spear ability slotted, but I'm already capped. I'm gonna show you in a second, so you don't need to. You don't need any ability. But the passives are still good. The two last passives, actually. Burning Light gives you a bit more damage just by doing damage, so it's really good. And Balanced Warrior gives you weapon damage, spell damage, and armor just passively. You don't need any requirements, so yeah, that's good. And the last spot is a bit of a flex spot. I'm using the Shocking Banner with Scribing. It gives you increased damage done with direct damage by 6%, and heavy attacks are direct damage. I know, it's counterintuitive, but yeah, it is. You count as being in a PvP area for Battle Resurrection, reducing the time it takes to resurrect another player. Again, DPS have to res their friends, teammates in a fight. That's their prerogative. So being able to do it quickly and get back to dealing damage quickly is really, really good. And then again, if you're playing this build, it's less detrimental for you to res your friends than for other people that require to build up really, really complex rotations to dish out damage. So if you go res someone, that means someone else can just keep doing the thing and keep doing the DPS and focusing on the damage. So you can be useful like that. Also, the last effect is Minor Resolve, because Why not? You have all the other buffs, so Minor Resolve is the only one you don't get elsewhere on this build. So yeah, why not? Minor Resolve. We have the big one, the Major Resolve from the Oaken's Ring, but yeah, Minor is good also. So yeah, that's it for the skills. Also, when I'm playing solo, I don't go with a shocking banner. I just go with Resolving Vigor. It gives me minor resolve anyway, but it's a really really good over time healing ability. So yeah, you can use it. It's really good. And that's it. Take all the passives, of course. I'm playing an orc. It doesn't really matter what you play with this build. Just maybe don't play a gadget, and that's maybe one of the few PvE build where playing a gadget is actually detrimental, because you're gonna get too much, way too much critical damage, and you're gonna exceed the cap by quite a lot. So you're better off with something else. But if you want to play gadget, please be my guest and play gadget, of course. Yeah, the medium passives, the light armor, the heavy armor, all good if you can. Prioritize the medium one, of course, because you have 5 pieces of it. And it gives you raw damage and healing power. It gives you stamina recovery, you don't need it. But it also gives you critical damage and healing. And since we have 5 pieces, it gives you 10%. So yeah, with 10% from medium armor and 10% from having a assassination ability slotted with this passive, and having 3 animal companions slotted abilities, you get 15%. You have 50 at base. You have 10% from minor force you get from Oaken's Ring, and I think that's it. I didn't forget anything. So you get 50 base, 45 as a bonus from everything I just said, and then you just benefit from the major force of your supports, the tanks and the healers, and minor brittle from usually the tank, but maybe there's someone else that procs minor brittle, and you're set. You have 125% critical damage, and that's the cap. You can exceed it, so that's why it doesn't make sense to play a gadget with this build. And that's also why it doesn't make sense to slot a Adric Spear ability just to benefit from the Piercing Spear passive. So yeah, now for the champion points, do whatever you want with the thief. For the mage, I go with Weapon Expert, 20% more damage with heavy and light attacks. Yes, of course, it's useful. Deadly Aim, more damage on single target. Master at Arms, more damage on direct damage. Again, heavy attacks are a bit weird, but they are direct channeled damage and single target, except for the AoE, but the AoE is actually calculated after the upon the channel effect, so you don't need anything to boost it. And Exploiter gonna give you 10% more damage, 33% of the duration of the fight, because the enemy is gonna be off balance 33% of the fight. So yeah, and for the red ones, health, armor, being able to again rest quickly, that's really good. And celerity to get more movement speed, because again, I'm obsessed with this stat, but honestly, you can do whatever you want with those. Just take something that suits you. And yeah, so yeah, that build is really good because I can play it whenever I want and be able to not be a burden for any group. I can use it to learn mechanics, to learn a new trial. It doesn't require any intense cognitive abilities. It doesn't even require physical abilities. You just have to hold and press 2 buttons. That means if you have some kind of disability or handicap, and maybe even you're playing with a adapted controller, you can use this build and dish out 80k DPS, because you just need to be able to move and to press and hold 2 buttons. So if you have some kind of adapted controllers or keyboards, you can use this build and enjoy the life of a good DPS, because 80k is good. It's a good amount of DPS, honestly. We see some power creep now. We see like crazy numbers, 180k, 160k, whatever, and it's really great, but it's not accessible to everyone. And often we go for the meta, for the optimized builds that work great on paper, and most of us are not able to make them worthwhile because we don't have the experience, we don't have the abilities, the capacity, either physical or cognitive, to to make them work as they should. And this kind of build is suboptimal, yes, but it's steady. It's 80k steady and guaranteed. So no matter what, if you just do that, you're gonna be able to dish out 80k DPS in any situation, any trial, any dungeon. I mean, on the pass, of course, and you're gonna lose a bit on the content, but you see what I mean. So it's really, really good. It's really useful, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I never seen any guide about this one in particular. I never seen anyone play it, but I often get the question, how am I able, without playing as a DPS, without training and never doing passes, how am I able to hold my my stand and pull my weight uh, in good rosters? And that's the reason I go with this build, and I res people, but whenever I stop doing a mechanic or raising someone or raising myself, I just go back to the fight and instantly, boom, I dish out the same amount of DPS as before. Instantly. So, I mean, it takes 4 seconds, yeah, sure, because you have to like proc this surgeon's mail, but yeah, it takes a few seconds, of course, to ramp up the damage, but only a few seconds. You don't have to do anything else. So yeah, that's it. I hope I didn't forget anything this time. I had to redo the video because I made a mistake on the first try, but I think that's it. Just checking quickly because I'd hate myself to forget. No, I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, you guys enjoy. Hope you liked the video. If you have something to say, don't hesitate. Use the comment section. Ask me anything. Ask me ideas, of course, if you want, or questions about the build or about anything else you'd like to see on the channel. And take care. See ya, guys.